Those online, we are not ignoring you. In my first class, it wasn't easy to keep those online involved, but in this class, I want to make sure you are following. Is that okay? All right, so we are not taking a break. So, like I said, we finished earlier than we're supposed to. You can't just teach continuously for even 2 hours. It's not allowed. It's all. So my strategy is just get it done very close. It's all right. Bear with me. Just all right. So yeah, let's move on. We can use, for example, the intersect overlay to extract data. How can we do that? Because if I have a layer which is actually the boundary of Accra, and I have data set for the whole Ghana, I can now overlay the boundary of Accra over the data set for Ghana, and then what's going to happen? So this question goes to your class. So this can be an exam question. Please listen and follow. Is that okay? Yes, James, online. How can you apply intersect overlay to extract data given the Accra boundary and then given the whole Ghana data? How can you just extract data for Accra based on the principles of the overlay? James, Pearl, George, Ruben, you can contribute, and maybe when I mark your paper, I can remember you. But basically, you need to be part of this class, all of you online. Otherwise, you'll be writing something funny for me. And don't call me when you do. Follow it. Ike, what do you think?
Putting together that career on the Ghana, I think we must establish
the common area between the Accra boundary and the Ghana one is the Accra area. The common area between the Accra boundary, the area bounded by Accra, and Ghana is the Accra area. Think about it. Think about it as an engineer, and you understand this. Common area between these two powers is just, if I put something small here, the common area between this and this is the smaller area. Are you okay? So we can use this method to literally extract data. Are you okay? Because you are finding common areas. And by so doing, we end up cutting. Are you okay? All right, but there's also something called clipping. You can just, but the clipping is based on the intersect value. Please, the door should close. I'm going to stop the door. All right. I only need 2 people to listen to me at a point. Is that okay? I don't need too many people. Close the door. And don't come in later. I'm not a professor. There are only a few professors in the world. Sit down. Okay, so if you don't understand this, and I ask you a question in the exam, you're writing something funny. Is that, put it in your mind. And every student should pray for one thing. You don't want to repeat and do a course again. If you don't pass well, you're not too happy, but don't feel it. And that's when you don't pay attention to what is being said. But if you read it and you don't understand it, you know what I'm saying? So pay attention and be active. Are you okay? Participate, ask a question, okay? That's the way to do the lecture. The next topic is buffering or buffer operation. Okay, so what is buffering? Buffering is used to constrain the space around individual features, land features, geographic features. Are you with me? All right, so to constrain space around something is a mathematical thing. Are you okay? It's quite mathematical. Are you okay? So what does it mean to constrain space for a little boy that you are trying to punish, a stubborn boy? You tell him to stand at a particular location and say, don't move, isn't it? All right, if you move, he's a very stubborn boy, I'm going to punish him more. Are you with me? All right, so what do? Naturally, you draw a circle around the boy, isn't it? What you're doing is that you are constraining the space around him. Are you with me? All right, so when the court also places what they call house arrest on someone, you tell the person that you can't move a certain distance away from your house. Is that also? All right, so when they do that, they are constraining the space around you. Am I talking to you? Am I talking to people? Okay. So now that area created around the particular location becomes the buffer, the result of the buffer operation. Are you with me? You have constrained the space. That means you can't go out of it. Is that okay? Right. During a lot of conflict, a buffer zone is created by soldiers. Are you okay? Where the two factions cannot come in. When you come in, the UN normally goes into the buffer area. Are you with me? Right. It's similar to it, but except that usually when we keep a constant distance called the buffer distance. Are you with me? All right, great. Now, when you do buffering, then there are three options you have. Okay, there are three options. You have point buffer, line buffer, and polygon buffer. Is that okay? Now, point, line, polygon is actually reeking of a certain concept called vector model, the vector model, which we are going to talk about in our next lecture or two. Is that okay? All right, no. So what do we mean by point buffer? Point buffer means that you have a point and you constrain space around the point. Mathematically, when you constrain space around a point, what do you have? When you constrain space around a point, you can have any shape at all. Are you okay? You can. I mean, I wish I could write, but see how the board is looking like. I have a point. I'm constraining space around it, but the object is quite irregular. Are you okay? The object is quite what? Irregular. Okay, I can take a point and constrain space around it, but we see the point is not at the center of it. Are you okay? All right, so the space has been constrained about a point, but there's no nicer and more regular and standard acceptable way, okay, of actually doing the buffering. Okay, so the standard way to do it is to create a constant distance around it when you do a point buffer. How can you create a constant distance around? Because over here you can see the distances are not equal. Are you okay? So we have constrained space, but this is quite irregular. We don't want this. And it's not easy to model. It's not easy to standardize. Are you okay? All right. So if I want to keep equal distances from this point, what would I end up with?
Yes, sir.
A circle. Thank you very much. Okay. Perfect. No wonder you are poor Isaac. Okay. 20 minutes never has to Isaac. Right? So the buffer distance here is this distance that you see. So 50-meter buffer. Are you okay? So create a big 50-meter buffer means to create a circle in which the point, are you okay, of interest is at the center of that point, and the radius of that circle is what? 50 meters. Are you okay? All right, that's a circle. Or what we are creating, are you okay? It's a circular buffer. Are you okay? A circular polygon. So we have to like this. Seriously, my brain is right. A circular polygon. Is that okay? Circular polygon is interesting, isn't it? Instead of us saying a circle, we are saying what? A circular polygon. The reason is that in GIS, we only have points, lines, and polygons. We don't have anything like circle, square. A square is like a polygon, are you okay? And then the triangle is also a polygon. Are you on the same page? All right, so we have constraints. So this is a point buffer. The application is when you want to actually find out, probably you are in charge of the SRC and you want to impress the student. You say, okay, all students living a certain distance away from the campus, you're going to provide Wi-Fi for you. Is that okay? All right. Now the thing with Wi-Fi is that the IT guys have a device that you mount somewhere. Are you okay? I think they call it access point. So that actually transmits the signal to you. The farther away you are from that, are you okay? The worse your connectivity. Are you okay? So you can't get access to it. So if you want to do it for a campus, sorry, those online, if you can sound. All right, if this is a campus and then these are buildings, okay, these are all buildings. So these are hostels. Are you with me? All right, where should we put it? Naturally, what will come to mind? What's the best? Where would you place your access point? If the access point transmits the Wi-Fi signal to, please, this one, you won't be using Wi-Fi for this. If you challenge 6 years that you're using Wi-Fi for 6 years, people are more than 6 years, so that's all right. So you know how this Wi-Fi, you need that. In fact, I have a Wi-Fi here. So it's transmitting. Everywhere you go, a certain radius, you will receive a signal. At a certain distance, you will receive what? A signal. All right. That defines my buffer. So I'm going to say my access points are here. I'll put some hole there and I'll mount it so that it can transmit. Are you with me? All right. Naturally, I was thinking you were going to think that you rather mount access point on the hostels. I agree. That may not be optimal. You end up buying more access
I
points.
was going to say, you find in between, like, in between the way those things.
And then have you place some sort of mask and then so you look at security issues. You see, sometimes when you are so providing a solution, you have to look at what security. You just don't think, oh, this is the way to do it. Just want to buy tomorrow morning. You go to today. Then all your engineering, it becomes engineering plus foolishness. Doesn't go to okay. So apply some wisdom. So even though you are being taught this, remember that you have to now apply wisdom. So this I've done here may be wrong, but I'm using it to only teach you. You have to now look at it in the real world scenario and say that no, we can't put this thing here. Tomorrow morning to gone. No, we can put this one here because there's a security post. Are you okay? And this place is fenced. Are you okay? All right. So at the end of the day, GIS supports the decisions we are making in our day-to-day lives if we want to use it. And one of them is buffering. Point what? Buffer. Okay? To follow. To follow. Be sure. Be sure. To follow. Sure. Okay, why would you use buffering? It may not be the most effective, but it can be used initially for wells. How would you use buffering in the case of wells? If you have a well, you are a company, you construct wells. How would you ever think of applying the buffering concept, the concept of buffering? Or a buffer operation, if you want to do a buffer operation. If you are a company that builds wells, where does this knowledge come into your building of wells?
The proximity of
Proximity. In fact, I like the word proximity there. Are you okay? So proximity analysis should consider, are you okay, how close you are to, sometimes there are places in Accra where, let me just say that the toilet facilities are not that good. And maybe you are looking at, okay, I just want to site my walls 7 distance from where we have a toilet facility. Is that okay? So that if you come out of not seeping to the underground water system, and then now it pollutes. Are you with me? Engineers solve problems in society. Engineers just don't go in for contracts so that they can chop money. Are you hearing what I'm saying? All right. So that's what he said, that you have to look at proximity. Maybe even the proximity to a certain place determines the suitability. Are you okay? Of a place to be, how suitable a place is for drilling and getting water. Do you know what I'm saying? And so in that case, you can simply do a buffer, okay? Get a map of the area, find the potential areas, do buffers, and do some analysis before you start drilling. Because once you finish drilling, you are in a mess, okay? Whether you're going to sack you, the company, the manager is going to sack you, or something fun is going to happen. Are you okay? You're going to be fired, or someone is going to fire. So you think first. That's why you are being given these tools. All right? So find buffer. That's it. If you have a question online, those here, you can ask me. Because I'm not in a hurry. You can come back and ask me the question. Is that okay? The next one is line buffer. Is that okay? So line buffer, you can imagine how it works. Okay? Now, in the US, in the UK, they have electric trails. This is how it works. You have the rail line going, then you have a fence because the line has electricity in it. Now, the danger is that you have a child. I have a child. And you don't want to kill it. You don't want a child. Children like playing. In fact, children always like to play around dangerous places. But they even don't like this. They don't like what's going on. I'm looking for that's why I want. You see, so they build fences for security. The only place where you don't have security is the station where you have to follow the train. So it's not happening in Africa, so maybe you can't relate to it. But I hope you can imagine something like that. Great. So now if you do that, you realize that there's always the decision how much space should be left, what should be the gap between the line, the rail line, and then the fence. Are you okay? Should it be too big or too small? And why? Anybody can say it. The gap between the fence and the rail line, the electric rail. talking to engineers here. You are going to see make the world a better place. Talk to me. Yes. Why? What should the consideration for choosing this distance? What should be the consideration?
First of all,
don't forget that the train itself has a width. So that's the first one. Also, once the train is faulty, you may need engineers to go there. They need space to work on it. Are you okay? And these are practical. Please, some of these things, they are like homemade, mama in the kitchen kind of solutions. You don't have to crack your brain. This is not engineering survey. I'm just coming from engineering survey. This is fun. Are you okay? Try to understand it. You can just get it. Are you okay? You don't have to worry too much. All right. So now, if you buffer this one by a distance, say L here, then you can do a buffer distance of L here. Are you okay? There should be equal distances. And these distances have to be optimal. Are you okay? They can't be too large, they can't be too small. If they are too large, you are wasting space because people need to build. Are you all right? Great. Now, what happens at the end of the rail is that still we have power in it, okay? And we need to still fence that in. So that their children are everywhere. Are you okay? Can just jump on it and start getting themselves killed. Are you okay? All right. Now, so we cap it. All right. There are two options. We can cap it with a square, something like that. Are you okay? Squarish end, or we can just do a semicircle like this. That will also ensure we have a constant distance. Are you okay? Here you have this extra space here, but it's okay. All right. You know what I'm saying, that right? Because if you actually do this, you see that. But it's okay. It's not that much. Okay, so we can. This is how we cap it. So for the point buffer, simply equates circular polygon. And then for the line buffer, you do offsets from the line. In this case, the center line of the real line. The real line is made up of two metallic rails, for which the pen is running. So you can now do the ends with the two options that are given without buffering the stone. Yes. Now ask me a lot of questions. The buffer. I didn't say that. So for how many do we have? We have possibilities. What are the possibilities? At the end of the buffer operation, you will obtain a circle, or you obtain something looking more like this. Are you okay? Depending on the object, the line. Are you okay? If the line is like this, you end up with something like this. I hope you are now getting it. You get it? It depends. So I'm only telling you that it's like this, but really what I really mean is that take an offset from the line. If the line is zigzagging, your buffer also zigzags. Are you okay? But it's a good question you asked. At least it's helped me to show you the possibilities. Are you okay? So it depends on the object, it depends on the feature, then you have the shape of the buffer. Are you okay? Or the buffer zone to create it. All right? Ask me more questions. Okay, you can ask me after this one. Let me finish the one. So if I had a duster, I would have cleaned it now, then I'll start writing it. So if you have a polygon, okay, you can also buffer the polygon. How do you buffer the polygon? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, you should go this way. Do this first. Do half first. Sometimes I write in the board, students take a camera and come to teach. Why do students do that? But the point is looking I know, right? Okay, so if I have a polygon, okay, I can buffer the polygon, but I have two options. This is the original polygon. My buffer is not going to be dashed. I just want to get where the buffer is. That's why I'm dashing. So, all right, great. So I have the buffer. So these distances are constant. Say L, I get that constant. If you don't do that, you're not going to do that for a buffer. It has to be constant. Except if someone comes up with something interesting. That we can accept. All right, this is an outer polygon buffer. Okay, I'm going to ask a question right now when I'm finished with this. Now I'm going to do an inner buffer, which is the same object. I go inside, then I'll set L. Are you okay? L everywhere. L. Are you getting that? I remind you to take attendance. Do the online one. All right, so this is an inner buffer. Which one will you do for your farm if you don't want fire to gut it? I'm not talking about backyard garden. I'm talking about farm that's bringing that allow you to buy 4x4 and things like that. Are you okay? I'm talking about farm that make you money. Are you okay? Like that huge thousands of acres of tomatoes. Are you okay? You are rich, you doing that farming. Okay, so you don't want fire to work. That is your investment. Are you okay? Which one of these do you go for and why? A or B? Online people, are you there? You keep quiet like that. Okay? Don't talk. Online. Are you following? James.
Yes, sir, we are with you. Yeah.
Okay, James, A or B, which one? Or you can't be. Which one of these would you go for?
Yes, sir.
If you don't want fire to get your
Sir,
farm?
it's hard to see from the board.
What is it? You are what?
It's hard to see from the board.
It's hard to see from the board. Okay. Yo, I heard you. I don't have a projector here, sorry. I had a projector, I could be doing something like I'll just be drawing on my laptop. So they'll be seeing it. You'll also be seeing it. Because there's this online Microsoft Whiteboard. You can use it like a board. I have a touch screen. But unfortunately, it will help. James, can you see what's on the board? Still see. James, can you see? That's because you see, I'm projecting my notes, not the video, unless I stop sharing. You get it? Maybe then, James, it's not even my name, he's going to bed.
Yeah. Okay, I can manage. I can see from here.
Is it better now?
Yes, please. When
Yeah, it's better now.
You can see what's on the board. Can you see this one?
Yes, please.
You can see it.
Yes, sir.
A and B, yeah? Which one of them do you prefer for if you wanted to create a fire belt around your farm so that fire doesn't burn your farm? Which one would you go for and why? I want someone online to talk so that I know that we can't do.
I'll go for.
You go for what?
I'll go for the A.
A. Why would you go for A and why?
Because I'm protecting my farm against the fire, so the belt needs to be outside the boundary.
So James, this is the boundary. Your boundary is now inside. Your buffer is outside. So now you are using people's farm, adjacent farms, to protect your farm.
No, the buffer will still be on my land, but not.
Then in that case, you are talking about
the farm.
In that case, you are talking about B, okay? Not A.
Okay.
So we can see the inner, outer. This is the inner buffer for the polygon. It only applies to the polygons. Are you okay? Inner buffer, outer buffer. You can't have it for the line one will give you a simple polygon. Always get polygons, something going around the line. Are you okay? Fine buffer, you always get what circles. Are you okay? Circular polygons. And this one get inner. So there will be a lot of application areas for these things. Are you okay? Can you give me an application of this in road construction? Anybody? How can we apply buffering for road construction? Or how is it being used in road construction without all of us knowing that we are using it? Or for a construction project? if you are doing construction, it's always used, but now I'm giving it a name. It's okay. Maybe you don't talk about it, but it is there. So tell me, practically, where during the construction, you are level 400, aren't you? So you are close to becoming full engineer. So please, I know what you know. Are you okay? I know what you're supposed to
When
do.
building roadways?
Yes, go ahead. Hello.
When building roadways? Between the road and the shoulder.
Exactly.
The
Because the
shoulder
road,
that the buffer
that's good, George, that's good. So what it means is that when you have a road, you start with the center line. Are you okay? For it to get the width, you need to now offset an equal distance. Exactly. Except that capping may not be relevant. So this can be an example question. Why is capping for line buffering not relevant in the case of what? Road width and your application of buffering to road width. Yeah, outlining of the road width. Are you okay? You see, it's you have to now sit down and think about it. The road width. How do I get it? You have set from the center line. Are you okay? Then you get the shoulders, you have set, then you get the foot. Are you okay? Then you keep doing the get even the drain. Are you okay? So all those things are a certain distance away, but with the buffering, you see, we have to always kind of go around the objects. So this is not quite it. Are you okay? But it's close to it. Okay, it's still buffering. I would say. Yeah. Exactly. When you are fencing a plot, you are literally doing that, but people may not keep an equal distance. They will end up just doing it anyhow. But it will be good for you to do it equal distances away. It's always good to do that. So fencing, when you're actually doing profile boards, you want to set profiles so that you can actually set out the whole construction. Are you okay? Have you learned something like that before? Setting out, you done setting out. So before you do that, you don't go and stand right there in the design and start constructing. You stay off the design, certain distance away to set out the lines. Are you okay? That define the columns. Are you okay? In the building and all that. So you do it a certain offset around the project. Are you okay? All right, great. Any questions on this? There are so many possibilities here. It's okay. Let's look at, there's this one that came up. If you have trees, yeah, if you have trees, every tree has what we call the girth. So the trunk of the tree has a certain radius and diameter. The spread of the tree, which is the leaves on top, also defines a certain shape, a certain distance, depending on the tree. We know Christmas tree doesn't spread, have a spread. It's just straight, no shape. Don't try to take shape under a Christmas tree. Okay. Mango trees have some shade, they go, but some trees will have bigger spread, others have like a smaller spread. Are you with me? All right, so the question was that, how would you apply buffering to planting of tree species on your projects? Simple question. The engineer has to come in, or the landscape architect has to. Don't forget, engineers work in a team, so you need to understand how this is done. Don't say this is not part of civil engineering. Okay, you're on a team. So if someone is saying that you don't understand what are you doing in the team? Are you doing? You have an idea. Okay, the reason you learn surveying is not become a surveyor, so that when you work with a surveyor, you will not fight him. He will tell you it will take me 3 days and be reconnaissance and say, what's all I talking about? Start fighting. So please let's understand the concepts. We don't have to. Some people, when you are teaching them, the only reason they don't understand, but they don't understand why you're teaching them what you're teaching. So they don't follow. All right. So how would we do this? In the case of the planting of tree species, if every tree species has a certain determined spread, which is like the radius, okay, at which all the leaves tend to spread from where the tree has been planted. How would you apply buffering to it? Any of you? Quickly. How would you apply buffering to planting of tree species on a site where you are doing your work? How should it be done? So that when you are in the team and someone is coming out with these things, you won't go like, hey, shut up, what is all this you're bringing? Doesn't work. Are you okay? Yes, I'm waiting.
I think depending on the kind of tree you are planting, the maximum spread you offset from the points
where you be planting it. So you will know that as I plant this tree here, what I'm literally doing is that I'm going to be destroying this building. Are you okay? So in advance, you know how to do it. Simply, you can actually plan it on your, put it on your plan, do the point buffers, and then know that I can't plan this on you. I need to push it a little bit to the side. If I'm going to be doing, can we give the example of trees that are ornamental trees, maybe palm, royal palm? Are you okay? Right. Great. Any question? Those online? Any question? Any? All of you here? Any question? Or you are good? Do you know distances? Do you know coordinates? How do they relate? Points and distance, coordinates and distances. How do they relate? Coordinates and distances. How do they relate? Coordinates and distances.
I think in between two coordinates.
It's